What is automation testing? Now we are in the era of automation testing, and everywhere you go, people will say automation testing, and automation. Every organization is now very keen in building their strong automation team, and they are very much towards automating their testing process. So what is this automation testing all about? Automation testing is nothing but instead of you sitting and executing the test cases, there is a predefined test suites or test scripts which will run on the application, and that test script will test the application on behalf of you, and it will compare the result, expected and actual result, and it will say if there is a defect or not. Basically, your whole job is done by a set of test scripts is called as automation testing. So how a system or how a tool is performing this? What is the idea behind this? How a tool is performing this? This automation testing is completely supported by a concept called framework. Framework is the backbone of automation testing. So now let's see what is mean by framework. Framework is nothing but a set of rules or set of guidelines or set of process which has to be followed in order to provide successful automation result. Let me give you a real-time example. If you need to construct a building, there will be a set of framework which is defined, like this is how you should use the space, this is how you should build the the wall, this is the height that you have to build the wall, this is the space that you have to use for one particular house. If you're building a condo or if you're building a flat, there are multiple houses you're going to build in that particular area. So this is the desired space for each individual house. So you should always have a set of rules that only within this area you should start building a first home, and only this area you should leave it for car parking, and only here you should construct a wall, and the wall should not exceed this length, and also you should not exceed more than 2 floors, or you should not exceed more than 3 floors. So if you're going to go for 3rd floor, your basement has to be only up to this. You cannot put basement lesser than this. These are the set of guidelines which are defined for constructing a strong building and a perfect building. Similarly, in order to construct the best automation suite or the best automation script to yield best results, we need to follow this framework. So there are different types of framework available in automation: data-driven framework, keyword-driven framework, behavior-driven framework. So what is this data-driven framework? Data-driven framework is nothing but multiple data will be used to test a particular functionality. We'll take a simple example as login module again. So don't scold me, because always I'm taking login module because I feel that is the easiest one and easily understandable. So let's take an example of a login module, or even let's take an example of a username field in the registration field. That username field can be tested with multiple data. So each and every time you need to key in different type of data, and you have to test how the system behaves for each type of data. In order to automate this process, what you will do is you will use this data-driven framework. You will take an Excel sheet, you will key in 100 or 50 types of inputs for one particular field, and you will create one automation test script for testing that particular field, and you will make sure that the script is running. While the script is running, each and every time it will call for different data from the Excel sheet, and it will execute the functionality with different data set from the Excel sheet, and it will yield you the result. This is called as data-driven framework. Similarly, if you say behavior-driven framework, behavior-driven framework is generally used for mobile applications or user confronting applications. So this behavior driven application will tell how a system should behave under different situations. For example, if you're testing a mobile application, this behavior driven testing will say how an application should behave when there is low network coverage, how an application should behave when there is a charge less than 15%. So these cannot be tested manually. These can be tested using this behavior driven tool or behavior driven framework. So these are different types of framework, and this is actually called as framework. Then why you need automation? Why do we actually need automation? Just to take rest? No. We need automation to yield faster results, because as I told you earlier, for one particular field, if you start testing with different 20 or 30 different data, it will take a half a day of your time, or at least 2 hours of your time. But wherein if you start executing by automation scripts, you can parallelly do some other work, and this can be completed without any manual intervention. So automation is always required to yield faster results and accuracy. There are few other reasons why we need automation testing. First is increased productivity. As I told you earlier, while the automation script is running, you can do something else which is relevant to the project, so that it will double or boost up your productivity. And it is very easy to find the bugs at a very early stage, because once the automation scripts start running, it will immediately tell you what all the bugs available. So it is very easy to find the bug at very early stage, and it also saves time, and it also gives accuracy. They are reliable and accurate, because machine will not make mistake, whereas human will. So the next one is when you want to do performance or load or stress testing, automation is the best way, because as I told you in previous lectures, you cannot pump in thousands of transactions within fraction of seconds. So if you loop in, if you create a program and if you loop in, or if you automate it, that is the best, that yields the best results. And also this automation testing will always be helpful to determine how much stress your system can take, how much load your system can take. That cannot be tested manually. And always, as I told you earlier, whenever you start your automation scripts running, there is no need for your manual intervention. And the best thing for automation testing, the best usage or advantage of automation testing is reusability of test cases. Same test script can be reused n number of times. When you're doing regression testing, you can easily automate the same. You need not have to sit and execute or re-execute the same test scripts over and again. You can simply automate it. So reusability of test cases or reusability of test suites is the major advantage or need for automation testing. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next lecture.